Welcome to Holdback Rack Podcast. My name is Jessica Hare. I operate Hare Hollow Farm, and we breed Boas, Balls, and select colubrids.
Hi, I'm Jana King. I operate ASM Royal Tails, and I breed high-end ball pythons.
We want to share our journey navigating herpetoculture and are dedicated to promoting biohazard safety for all species. And we would love you to answer the question, what's in your Holdback Rack? Episode 11.
Episode
Welcome.
11. 11 happens to be my lucky number.
Why is it your lucky number?
Wow. I'm going to just put this out there. Cool.
Is this a weird sexual fetish? Because we can obviously save that for the B-roll.
No weird sexual fetishes. No. There are 11 people in my family.
Oh, okay.
There was,
that's fine. That doesn't have anything to do with sexual fetishes. Why did you lead me to believe that?
Weird. Lead you to believe anything.
You basically took two fingers and went like
just
this.
Normally when I tell people that I'm the youngest of 9, it kind of weirds them out a little. So I try to just wait till we're real good friends before I float that kind of crap. Well, I guess episode 11, we're real good friends now.
Yeah, the
so I can
100 or so-ish people who listen to this podcast now know that you're a part of a brood.
Yeah. Growing up, 11 was my lucky number because I was the 11th member of my family. I also like that it is symmetrical. It just has always been my favorite.
Did you have a 11T Christmas?
It was a magical, perfect Christmas. Everything went great.
Okay.
How about you?
I had a pretty good Christmas. I didn't have any little shitty kids particularly shitting on my parade. It was fine. We didn't do too much exciting. That was good. We got Chinese for Thanksgiving, Chinese for Christmas. Chinese on the way home from something. It was a lot of Chinese. We've given up any pretense of being fully Caucasian around here. And we're also not pretty much atheist at this point, so there's no particular religious feelings, but I've also given up the need to have a particular meal for Christmas.
Yeah,
it feels just as fun to venture out into the snow and eat Chinese. That feels just as fun and meaningful to me, so I'm very happy.
For sure.
We even tried a new buffet and it wasn't even that good, but it was still fun to try, because it was snowing here. Everyone at home who doesn't live in the Pacific Northwest, and so
no, it's magic.
It was a weird egg roll adventure, and I was all into it. That was fun.
That does sound magical. My adopted grandparents for my kids, my brother's wife's family, who I was friends with previous to him marrying her, include us as family, even though we're in-laws or something weird. Anyway, they do a taco bar.
That seems fun. Anything to break up the
next year
monotony,
I'm totally doing the taco bar.
The monotony of ham and turkey that's happening multiple times. Yeah, I think
I kind of enjoy it.
People live in seasons where they need grace, is what I'm saying. You need to give people permission to take the easy way out. I feel like the early December was a trying time for me. I ain't making shit. We're going to a Chinese buffet. That's what I'm saying. So if you need grace to make a taco bar, go right ahead. Taco's delicious.
I happen to be a humongous fan of turkey, and so it's
me too.
A year I get turkey. But I'm not. It's not because of tradition. It's more it's my turn to eat the damn bird.
Right.
Which I guess you can make it anytime, really.
Yeah, especially if you're I'm just going to go get frozen breasts, which they sell year-round. Then you can have a lot of the feeling, a lot less work, still base it in butter, but you could just do Thanksgiving on Easter. And tacos on...
We always do ham on Easter. So
my family does too. And Chris is like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what are you talking about? We have these weird, he was born in a universe I don't understand. And I was like, don't you eat ham and biscuits on Easter? He's like, no, never. I'm like, what?
What does he eat on Easter?
I don't know. It's probably
That's fascinating.
Barbarian food. I don't know. He was born in a bin. He's like, that must be a Southern thing. And I'm like, is it? I feel like
No,
everybody eats
I am
ham.
a fully entrenched Washingtonian,
You
born
eat you eat ham?
born in the gutter. So if I got ham on Easter,
It is
yeah, you had a
20
rat
degree.
update.
It is 20 degrees outside. I do not have heat in there. Guess the temperature in the room.
I'm gonna
20.
guess 50.
Yeah, basically. So like there's enough rat BTUs in there with just one sort of outflow vent that it's totally fine.
That's amazing.
And it's not really that insulated. So maybe you want a rat shed. I don't know. How's your little snake building doing in the weather?
It's doing pretty good. My
Did you
husband
get
has
it
a
spray
little.
foamed yet? I don't know what the update
Yes,
was on
yes,
that.
it was spray foamed the week before Christmas. It's very good at keeping itself cold.
Well, if you need to keep
So
icicles.
very efficient at being cold. The problem is that it's so freaking cold when it got finally put in, and then we were waiting for it to get spray foamed before we like sealed under it. There's like a little gap between the concrete and the building in some spots. And so we need to spray foam it and then silicone it along the bottom inside edge. But because it has to be like 40 for that silicone to set.
Mm-hmm. It's not been 40, everybody at home.
It's not been 40.
And it
it's going to
doesn't
be in
look
the
40
teens.
anytime soon.
It's going to be in the teens this week. So my
Mm-hmm.
husband's got a crappy little
Space heater?
base heater blower thing out there. And ever since I've discovered the oil heaters, those things are like, why do they even freaking exist? The little crappy blower ones. He doesn't want to buy the oil one to put out there, but he's got it on out there 24 hours a day, and it's keeping it at about 40, and that's with the bottom not being sealed. So he needs like 5 more degrees to get it high enough so he can silicone it. But he's also putting up walls because we're going to do double insulation. So he's doing framing right now on the inside, and it's getting a loft. So it's moving along. I think it's going to do a great job once it's heated and once the bottom is sealed, because that concrete is literally like 18 degrees right now.
Morph Market community. You read it last night. I didn't reread it last night, but there was a thread where someone bought a collection of hognoses. They took an animal from it, an adult female hognose, tested her for crypto and adeno, which is a lizard virus. So that was a weird choice, but okay.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that because I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Why would you pick that one?
I don't know. I've never even
Aren't there
seen
two
it.
forms of crypto that you could test for instead of the adeno? That's like a
Right.
lizard
I'm assuming he
crypto?
tested for both of them.
Okay. I was just confused by that as well.
Because Varanus and Serpentis, they don't give a shit what they're in. The names are random. They don't even really matter. They both can jump. But adenovirus is, I mean, right in, is mostly seen and tested in bearded dragons and lizards. So I don't know why they chose that one to test for, but that's fine. I don't know.
But good job testing.
Yes.
Gold star.
He was flipping the collection and he tested and he was like, okay, I feel like I've done my due diligence. It's quarantined. And then he went and he sold it. The animal in his care was only eating small prey items, but he did not relay that to the buyer. The buyer fed it maybe too soon, maybe too big of a prey item. It regurged it. Then they fed the second time again, probably too soon, and it regurged it. And the snake died at 22 days after. And that's when the buyer contacted the seller. And so the seller was like, 22 days is a long time. Am I liable to refund for this animal? What do you think, Jana? This was the thread. I thought it was interesting for a couple of reasons, but
My thoughts were a couple of things. I was really pleased that even though he was flipping this collection that he had purchased, he did his due diligence with testing. It was my understanding reading it that he had told them about the prey item and they had just ignored him and that to pick a bigger prey item. And he'd also relayed the status of the testing results to them prior to purchase. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I got that part wrong.
oh, I could have gotten it wrong too. I thought he had told them maybe after whatever the first time they messaged him, but he hadn't been super insistent that they whatever. But oh, either way, it's fine.
My feelings that he's got a lot of it's been too many days. Um, they were feeding and handling incorrectly and making some big errors and doing some big no-nos. So when they fed too big a prey item and she regurgitated, they immediately tried to feed her again, not waiting 2 weeks. And anybody who owns reptiles knows that you're supposed to wait 2 weeks so that their insides can heal because it's very damaging for them to regurgitate a meal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they didn't do that. And they also didn't contact him when she regurgitated or when they tried again and failed the second time. They did not contact him until day 22 when they're like, hey, your snake is dead. So he couldn't even go over, hey, what are your husbandry? Hey, what happened? Hey, why did you choose to feed within that 2-week time period? Blah, blah, blah. He didn't even get to do any of the things that you would normally do if a customer contacted you and they were having trouble with an animal that they had purchased from you. But they weren't asking for a refund unless they did send the animal for, help me out.
Necropsy?
What's the word? Yes, for necropsy. And they said if the animal comes back positive for crypto, you had guaranteed that it was crypto negative and we want our money back if that's why she died. So everybody was saying, oh, it's been too long and you've done your due diligence and it doesn't meet your store policy. But the one little flag for me was that are we as sellers responsible if we state an animal is disease free? The person bought it, took you at the fact that you had said it was disease free based on this one testing point, which isn't enough to say that something is disease free. They didn't choose to test on intake. And if it does pop positive, as a community, what our opinion on that should be. I don't have an answer. I was just curious to pose that question and get more discussion on that because I don't feel like anybody discussed that at all. They were all like 22 days, no contact, and then they're telling you she's dead. You don't need to refund them. But what he was actually asking is, if she's positive, am I liable for a refund?
Mm-hmm. To me, it's like obvious she was sick when they got her. It doesn't matter that they fed her weird. A non-sick hognose doesn't do that.
So you're saying because she required smaller meals?
He shouldn't have sold her. He shouldn't have sold her. If a hognose can't keep down small meals, there's a set of hognoses that do that, and they may or may not be fine. He should have just kept her forever. If she has crypto or not, there's something wrong with her. Some people are like, because they're supposed to eat toads and they shouldn't eat hare, that's why they do that. But not all hognoses are like that. So like this is a substandard animal that needs to be sold at a substandard price. Or it's an animal that has crypto and just wasn't detectable in his one sample. So to me, he should refund her. It doesn't matter if it's been 22 days. He wasn't supposed to sell a kind of okay animal.
Okay.
In my opinion. Your terms of service, as far as like if the second test, when they get it and it's 3 weeks later is positive, your terms of service just needs to cover that if you want it to be that way or not. For crypto, it's particularly important to decide a longer time frame. And I have to redo my terms of service too, because right now I have 7 days. But that's not really enough time to double check for crypto.
We have discussed crypto, actually, you and I just updated my terms of service and put 7 days. But I also put in a little cliff note that says if we're testing, because I'm about to start breeding kings. And so that's going to become more relevant for me. I put in a little like, if we're dealing with crypto and you need more time, we need to discuss it prior to sale.
Yeah, I have a note like that. Like if you need any more time for any reason, like you're going on vacation right after you get it and it's going to sit in quarantine, I don't know, whatever. Let's talk about it in advance.
22 days, you're satisfied that that is the seller's burden?
In this case, yes. I think the seller should just...
So you don't think that it has anything to do with the fact that they were inexperienced hognose keepers that
they
may or may not
probably
have been
exacerbated her condition, whatever that was, and made her die. Yes. But the standard of the time to sell an animal is when it can withstand normal care. Feeding once and it regurges immediately is not normal care. It's not. Okay. It is normal care. So the first time, yes, they should have messaged him. I think he's just like send him $500 just for like a goodwill and be like, sorry about that to me.
Okay.
I know it's out of the time limit. If he wants to really stand his ground, so most people wouldn't argue with him.
I'm
But
not passionate on this either way. I am genuinely curious as to everyone's thoughts. Like, because I agree that it could go either way. Like, if someone was like, nope, that's too long, I understand their standpoint. And then from a
it
disease
is too
testing
long.
other standpoint, I'm
Right.
also like,
But
totally get that
100%
that
she
could
died
be.
because of something that was already
She
wrong
died
with
within
her.
30 days. Even if you were quarantining that animal and doing everything right, if an animal dies within 30 days, it's not likely something you expose them to if it's not a husbandry thing, like if they weren't like freezing her or whatever.
Right. From JMG Reptiles, I had 3 weeks. He was like, test it within 3 weeks because it won't be positive for crypto from you in 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, it seems fine. So
Right.
like,
So
she
definitely if
died
it comes back from the vet
with
positive
crypto.
crypto, that's totally on him.
Yeah, and she obviously had problems because he acknowledges she had problems. So he shouldn't have sold her, in my opinion. Whatever her
Fascinating.
problems
Okay.
were, I don't know what her problems are.
So you also stated, because I asked you if buying an adult hognose was a good idea, and you also were like, hold my beer.
Oh no. Because hognose, okay, I have 5 reasons why maybe buying an adult hognose female is a bad idea. That's a
Okay.
lot.
That's a
I
lot.
don't
I'm
think I
ready to hear
have
it.
5 reasons for adult ball pythons. A would be crypto, obviously. Even if you can test on intake, that animal's older, so it's had longer time to be exposed. And hognoses are somewhat notorious for rolling for crypto. King snakes are actually really good at tolerating crypto. So, like, if you're going to buy an adult of one and have it just live as a crypto positive or roll immediately, you know what I mean? So that would be like, that's one reason. There's an issue, and maybe people don't want to report this as real or rumor, that there are intersex females, hognose, that don't ever breed.
Really?
So they'll
I have
have
not
like
heard that.
they won't have hemibeans. They'll probe as females, but their tails will be a little longer. They don't ever breed. They don't ever ovulate. Kind of can't tell that that's going to be them until you test breed them. So buying a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old female Western hognose, you could be buying one of the intersex ones. I don't know how common they are. I've only heard rumors, but I am suspicious. And then if you're like, oh, I'll get one that's like on eggs. Well, hognoses get burned out. They're kind of like a K-selected species where you breed them and they breed the shit out of themselves. They like kill themselves breeding. So they'll double clutch and it'll be way too many babies. And you'll have to like give them supplemental calcium. And so a female could have like blown out oviducts or she just stops being able to produce and she's getting ready to die anyway. They're not quite like a corn or a king where they seem to be pretty steady. They put all their feelings in. And Western hognose aren't as bad as tricolors where they literally die at 7 because they've bred themselves to death. That's why female hognoses are hard to find. Because if they're good, then they're good for a while and then they go. Bye. I don't know how long a heavy breeding female lives. 10? 11?
And what about like a 2-year-old hognose that's been somebody's pet?
2 is different because 2 is 1 year away from breeding. I don't think buying a sub-adult or juvenile is fine. Like if you want to save time, it's the same as buying a baby, right?
Right.
You haven't
Because that's
rolled
what I was looking at is a albino conda female that's a pet.
Right, that would be more fine.
Okay.
But like if you're buying somebody's like D would be impacted scent gland issues. Sometimes they like don't express their glands right, and so they'll show you the top of the snake, but if you flip it over, it actually has like a raging infection. That happens a lot. And lying about the age. So they'll like whitewash the age. Like, this is 4 years old. She's bred 2 years for me, or 1 year. She's actually
Right.
9 or 10. She's not going to breed anymore, or will die the next time she breeds. But if you want to buy a yearling, 2-year-old, and you can get a good crypto guarantee and you like the person who's selling it, that's fine. To me, I would be very concerned about people dumping adult female hognoses.
Yeah, no, it's one hognose and they only own one hognose.
Right, that'd be fine.
Okay.
To me, what do I know? Just like
more than me. So that's what we're
I think
asking.
among colubrids, the hognoses aren't even colubrids anymore. They're their own class of thing. They act different than a corn or a king or a milk, substantially, in terms of like life history, how they breed,
Yeah.
and how the females, what they
I
do.
am hognose curious, so it seemed like getting a 2-year-old one might be not a terrible idea because then I could get a baby boy after that one gets out of quarantine, and then they would be ready around the same time, right?
Yeah, if they eat.
If they eat. So that was my
Yeah, that part, that
mode of
plan
thought.
seems fine. But when you were like, should I buy an adult female hognose? I'm like,
You were like, well, wait here.
gross.
Hang on. This is a whole
Yeah,
conversation.
the hardest one is the intersex one because you could have that problem buying a subadult or baby. You won't know it's not going to be one of those non-breeder ones until you try to breed it. So I don't know if mine is going to not breed either. That's why people sit on unusually large amounts of females because they're trying to sort them out. Which ones will be winners? That's all.
That sounds like a whole headache. That makes me just like, I think I'll wait another year and let you figure out the hognose BS.
Yeah, and they're harder to start, of course.
They're
and
so
whatever.
cute, though.
I know, it's insane.
My kid really wants a hognose really bad.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting into them. You just have to treat them with their own sort of sets of rules or whatever.
Yeah, I need to wait till my building's done, I think, so they can have their own area.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
In some ways, it's
Do you
like,
think that they can be, if you have corns that have been cleared on multiple testing, do you think once they're out of quarantine that you can put hogs and kings in the same rack? Or you would never do that?
I probably would do that.
I mean, if everybody's had multiple rounds of negatives.
Kings are worse than like corns and hognose because kings can harbor it easier and live, never die. Just typhoid marry it. Yeah, I probably would. The thing that's like giving
I don't have
me
to decide that.
weird sleep at night is like I haven't tested any of like the ball pythons for crypto or the boas for crypto, which I really probably should because they can be reservoirs. So then like if I mix them that way, then it's the other way around. Like the ball pythons are killing the corn snakes. You know,
We're gonna be happy and upbeat. We're doing a great job so far.
we're doing so good. All right, I have 2 petty complaints. I don't know if this is a corner. I just can't handle it anymore, and I'm ready to share. One.
Wait. So we don't know if it's gonna be crook in your craw?
No, I don't think it's that. It's not a
Okay.
whole ass crook. Also, Chris
Okay.
hates that name, and he's like, I don't love you anymore because of that name. And I was like, that's a strong statement.
Very strong statement. Maybe
He's
we
like,
can
you should just
respect
rename it Grinding My Gears. Like the fucking.
that. I love grind my gears.
And I'm like, that's what it is in that cartoon
In
TV show.
everything.
Yeah. I was like, we can have a corner. Okay, this is grinding my gears. All right, ready? And if an animal is a mother, it is a dam, not a dame. I'll say it one more time. If an animal is a mother, it is a dam, not a dame. It's spelled D-A-M, not D-A-M-E. Whew. Dame is an old-fashioned word for an old lady. Dam. Okay. I know it's
Your
hard.
black and white movies, huh?
Yeah. You can look at her gams if you want, but you can't use that word for a female animal. Thank you. One more. The term breed ready is not linguistically normal English. I'm not sure why people use it. Please say breedable or mature. Breed ready is not a normal word. Only ball python people use it, by the way. It's not normal language in English.
It's not normal language.
If you think about it linguistically, it doesn't even make sense. Because
Well, I say ready to breed. Is that
that's
still...
fine. That's normal English. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Because you wouldn't turn it around and be like, she is breed.
He is breed.
You know what I mean? Like that's what breed ready is implying, that breed is a condition. Breed is a verb. Breedable, it's condition. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
It's only ball python people who do this. There's a lot of things that are dumb in the hobby, but those were two that like hit me like a ton of bricks this week, and I was like, whoa, stop it. Like otherwise intelligent adults were saying it, and I was like, let's not do this.
So I don't know if we've addressed this on the podcast, but I do often sound like a robot. It is because I have crappy internet. We are working on it, people. People who have put up with it, I thank you. It is quite obnoxious, and we are aware of it.
You sound better this episode. You've only roboted a couple times so far.
I am right next to the router, so maybe that's helping.
All right. We'll do that from now on, I guess.
Yeah. Yay. That's good to hear, because it was bad the last episode. But you warned me that it was going to be bad.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to do collection updates fast, but my collection update is we're getting ready to get back into shipping season. Thank God. And so I'm going to re-photograph all the snakes that are still for sale and probably reevaluate pricing. And so there will be hot, new picks and takes coming up in probably like 2 weeks. So if you need a snake, message me or Jana, because shipping's going to happen again. How exciting is that?
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Obviously weather depending, but like...
weather depending.
FedEx will normalize in like 2 weeks.
Lame, frozen wasteland of nothing can function because no one knows how to plow the road.
But the East Coast right now is super warm and nice. So if we could ship and it was like above 50 here or something, you know, we would be shipping all over the place.
Yeah, as soon as it's warm enough to ship here, I get to get my 2 new, very exciting that I have yet to share ball pythons in. We brought the Kings out of brumation for Christmas, and they got their first little quails after they had warmed up. That was really fun. Really, really fun. It's so fun to feed an animal that actually eagerly wants to eat.
Are you saying you want to throw all your ball pythons in the trash and get colubrids?
That is not quite what I said. I am still
sorry, I must have misheard you. Because I heard...
Do corns eat quail as well?
Yes. All these animals are reasonable, beautiful, small, tolerant of low humidity, and eat whatever the fuck you want to give them.
Yeah, it was quite fun to feed quail.
Yeah, so, you'll have fun with all kinds of weird
update.
Shit. Like you could do reptilinks and stuff too for fun.
They would totally love that.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So down to the meat and potatoes.
Yes, ma'am. So today, we're just talking about our 2022 plans, breeding plans, and like goals that are outside of breeding. Some of these are like not goals having to do with animals, but goals, personal goals and goals with trips, but still like related to the business and hobby. So around here in the ball python department, I like to hang, I want people to be like, is it evil? Oh, it must be just a snake. I want people to like think about those two things as the same thing in their mind. Dark, evil clowns. That's what I want to be associated with.
That's awesome.
So so in general, I want to hang, most of my pairings this year are GHI clown stuff, blackhead clown stuff. There is still like het production, tri-stripe het production, desert ghost het production, a little bit of the leopard double het. He gets a couple females, but for the vast majority, blackhead GHI. So if you would like everyone in the audience associate me with blackhead and GHI, that would be great. Forever.
And black pastel and calico mixed with those lovely things.
Yeah, but to me, like, the skeleton is GHI clown or whatever. To me, I don't know. Like calico and black pastel are good, but to me, the two genes that are like the ones that I think are the most recognizable or domineering or particular would be GHI and blackhead. I don't know. Is that weird?
What blackhead are you breeding this season?
The blackhead yellow belly poshead clown. Probably.
I hate you just a little. Oh.
And he's locking all over the place. So I gave him a het pied female, which is weird, but fuck it. I should be able to see the blackhead shows het pied pretty well.
Does he have a visual girl he's getting?
No, I don't have anything visual. You're confusing my collection with a good one.
I know, but I want one of those babies.
Yeah. Every time, and the pied I have is going to the Desert Ghost. Because it seems obvious to me that the only way to fix pied is to put Desert Ghost in it. So that's what's going to happen over there.
And two dark genes. We agreed.
Yeah.
Minimum of two dark genes and Desert Ghost.
You saw Justin's like super blackhead pied clutch. Those all look nice to me. Blackhead pieds, super blackhead pieds, blackhead Mojave, leopard pied. Those are all nice. They're still sort of like samey though. I don't know what to make them do differently. This is just me having problems with pied. Pied is inherently beautiful, but like
I love pied.
every variant of it is very samey. There's either the dark ones or the not dark ones. I'm not that worried about pied, and I don't hardly want to spend any money on pied, and I will continue to have like a half-ass pied project because of that.
That's all right. I will take your cast off that have black head and other awesome things in it.
I'm okay with this. Like every time I think like, oh, I need to go spend some money on ball pythons. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But my passion is not really with ball pythons, although I like the projects I'm in. I'm not that interested this year in putting another 50K into ball pythons. I'd rather put it into something else. I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but here we are. But I don't necessarily want to get rid of my ball python stock because I like the projects I'm working. But I'm not going to like trip over myself to like force my collection to meet some kind of standard. If you were like, Jessica, you're not allowed to do double recessives. Fuck you. You can only pick one recessive and work it forever. Clown. I don't even care if it's double recessive or not. I'd be very happy for a lifetime of making clown combos. That's me.
That feels real.
Yeah,
That seems like a good realization.
They're just beautiful enough for me. So if I can get ghost into them or Desert Ghost into certain ones that are ugly, like they have pastel in them, you need to fix them. That's great. But I don't need that. What I need is a bunch of little black holes, or like, you know, the dark part at the end of the universe embodied in a snake. That's what I want. That's all I need to be happy. So it's okay to have that as my goal. Not, you know, a quintuple het. I don't care. That would be money not well spent in my collection anyway. These are my like little ball python goals. I would like to know if some of the things I have like sons coming back to moms. I just want to know what pops out. Is like my black pastel actually had ghost? See, these are like very low profit margin pairings, but I just don't care. I just want the intellectual knowledge of what the pairing is. Is Peter Dinklage anything at all? We'll find out. Peter Dinklage is weird Dinker. Check on Instagram for pictures of Peter Dinklage. So he has one.
He's amazing.
He has one.
He's all
female?
the glorious, delicious things you want in a dinker.
Yeah, he looks great.
I might cry crocodile tears if he is a hybrid and never breeds.
Yeah, it's all right though. You have to be okay with weird shit, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe I'll buy him up and he can be my like meet this awesome creature at the
or something. I don't know. Like, yeah, he would probably be a good like pet. He's a pretty nice snake too. My goal animals, I would be either gender GHI Mystic Clown. That would be like the best to me, and it's possible to hit. And then the stretch goal would be like a blackhead yellow belly clown combo. If he proves, he would have to prove, but he is going to like het clown females. That's it for ball pythons for me.
That was really short.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to over talk about it. We have a lot of more talking to do.
I might need to shorten mine a bit. But general pairing plans for 2020. I would really, really like to hit some super gravel stuff. But for some reason, my awesome highway male wants to lock with nothing. I'm hoping he's like a 5-minute man.
Still?
Yeah. I mean, I put in sheds. I do all the stupid things they tell you to do that don't actually work. And I have seen zero locking. Although this last time I put him in a day before everybody else, so only like 24 hours after eating, and I left him till like morning of eating day, when normally I just leave him out for 3 days. So he was in 5 days, and there was some cuddling. So I'm hoping he's like a 5-minute man, and I just miss it.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
And that's all it takes. But he has 6 girls on his list, 2 of which he hasn't seen yet, and I don't know, it's making me hesitate, because if he is locking with them, he's going to make phenomenal babies. But if he's not locking, he's got really important girls. He's got visual highway girls. He's got an inchy ivory girl. He's got my bright yellow belly. I mean, he just has like some really important snakes that I could key in somewhere else and be happier. So I need to decide if I'm going to back them
Have you
up.
been checking his junk after pairing to see if he's locked?
You're going to have to give me more information than that. I
Okay.
have popped him. I pop him before pairing and I wipe his
All right. Stop doing
juice.
that. Stop doing that.
Okay.
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 So put him in normal. Pop him after pairing. If he has averted one of his hemipenes, that one will be clean. It won't. There won't be like crusty juice on that side because he will have like exuded it while averting the hemipene.
Oh, okay.
That's why
I
Billy's advice to do that is A, doesn't work, and B, is nonsense. Because the best tool you can have is to, you will know with absolute certainty that he popped his peen out and used it because it'll clean it off.
Okay. I just put him in last night and I didn't because it was late and I forgot. So we'll see. I will pop him when he comes out.
Yeah. And then
I
you
am
can
gonna
figure
do
out if
the
he's
longer.
stealth doing it too. And so maybe he is.
Okay. I am going to keep doing it longer because, like I said before, he never even was near the female. He was on the opposite end. And this last time there was cuddling
Okay.
after 5 days.
Maybe he just
So-
needs a little time to figure it out.
He just needs a little time. I think he's a 2019 too. And anyway, so that's really been grinding my gears as I hope he gets his crap together because otherwise there will be no super gravels in my future. My other goals, I am hoping to produce a lot of double hets in several different projects. I hope to prove out some hets. I bought a whole collection. I think it's been 4 months ago now, and so I'd like to prove out some of the girls that were listed as het clown or het pied this season, and then I will be able to decide if I'm keeping them or selling them. And then I would also like to have 11 million holdbacks because this year I had like 4.
Have you calculated the number that you want?
The number? No, I'm not. I see that just I feel like sets you up to be disappointed. So I'll just see what comes and do a better job of holding back everything.
No.
That
So
counts.
I'm always just like, I want another ARS rack every year. So around 40. Whether I buy those in or keep them, the best 40 is what I want each year.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
a
know
great
you're going to
number.
have
I don't have a number.
25 clutches or whatever. So that's,
Like 4 from every clutch. It's a lot. It's like 100.
it's 150 babies, but half of those will be males. So you probably don't need most of the males. So, you know, you'll have like 70 females to pick out of. So picking like half of the best females and a couple of males is probably pretty good. That's like an
so like
ARS rack.
50-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the goal, is to have a ridiculous amount being held back so that I'm like swimming in them. My goal animal for this season is I would love to make a enhancer G-stripe visual. I have an enhancer het G-stripe, and then he's going to a double het female. So it's a 1 in 8 shot if she goes. So we'll see.
She
Be
have
cool if I hit it.
follicles.
She's about 12-ish. She's like 2018 and hasn't ever been bred. So we'll see. We'll see what she does. She's one that came from Canada, but not from Billy. And then I'd also really, really love to produce a visual calico male clown, or females, or all clowns kept from that clutch.
God, yeah. If I could roll in like a sea of clowns, I think I've said this out loud. Just like a sea of female clowns. It doesn't even matter what they're doing. I would just be again, like give me 20 years of stuff to do without anything else in them. It'd be fine. Because then I don't have to test them.
All the female and male clowns. They're good too.
Yeah.
And then I have a dinker, African import dinker female who is, I'm just waiting on her prelay shed. So I'm really hoping that she throws some really wacko looking babies and that I can keep a boy back, because my other dinker threw all girls and that was sad. So that would be a goal animal. And then I have a ODYB het female pied, and I'm really hoping to produce a male ODYB pastel inchy pied male just to hold back and mix things up. He is pastel inchy YB possible Leo visual, and she's ODYB So we'll see.
You
Maybe I'll
gonna
get
keep
a.
the ivory pieds?
I could get an ivory pied, and if they're girls, I'd probably keep them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe I'd keep a boy. I don't know. I'm excited. Really, that's probably the most exciting pied clutch that I have. For adding genes because I already have a stacked male. So getting another stacked male, you have to do better to keep it. Does that make sense? Like it needs to be
Yeah.
something better.
It needs to
Um,
be substantially better to even justify.
Correct, because
Right.
he will breed with anything. He's amazing. Then snakes to purchase this year, I would like a visual clown pied male, and a visual clown genetic stripe. If it had het enhancer, I wouldn't be sad about that. And then I'd also like to add a female cypress
Something or other.
combo of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you list if there were some different species you were wanting to get into?
Yeah, but I put all that at the end.
Okay. Well, that's it for my ball
Okay.
python.
Well, I'll go through the other ones quickly, I guess. So I
Okay.
have three main Boa pairings: a VPI IMG to a Hypo double het VPI Anery Type 1 Snow. So we would make visual IMGs and IMG VPIs. So those are good looking and expensive and beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I want an IMG so bad.
And so there'll be normal IMGs too, which then you can get like the black exciting version of it. And then we should also have VPI snows being born and snow glows, which are like the
Those are really
visual.
popular right now, right?
Yeah, they have been. They're just really cool looking. They're like
Okay.
purple and yellow and gray and weird. It's crazy.
I was gonna say I've heard of both of these pairings. Doing good so far.
Yeah, so I finally have like more high end Boa pairings. So hopefully that will mean the Boas do good this year. I was surprised how like poorly the Fire Ghost
I was
did.
shocked too.
What the fuck do I know? I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me about like personal taste. Because I like gray snakes. What an idiot. Let's go with that. And then I'm breeding the Fire, who was the sire of the Fire Ghost litter, to a Het Jablonski Super Stripe and Jablonski Super Stripe. The hets are very visual, so I should be able to see the suns, like a really stripy fire sun. Breed that back to mom, and I don't think anybody's made that. The double, like a Jablonski Super Stripe fire. I don't think that exists at all. So
It's exciting.
within a couple years,
First,
we'd be
they don't really
making.
do that in the boa, do they? They don't like I got the world's first.
I mean,
Like
a
with
little
ball
bit, like
python.
dumb people do.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
The dude bros.
So that's Boas. I do have a bunch of Boas pushing and being obnoxious again. So I'm like, you bred last year. I don't know what's wrong with you. So well, if they keep pushing, I'm gonna give them a male. I don't fucking care anymore.
Can
Not,
you ultrasound them to see if
I
they're
can, but I
building
don't
or
know if I
whatever?
could alcohol that ultrasound enough to feel confident that it's clean.
You'd almost need two for your brain.
Yeah, I know I'm a baby, but
Yeah, baby.
I will do it if
Fool
it's
me
like
once, fool me twice.
I know how many times can I get fooled.
Right. Now, no, I understand. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I definitely can, but if they're gonna be psycho, what am I supposed to do? Just like, oh, I'm not gonna breed you. Fucking, I don't care. I don't care. Do it or don't do it. Just don't push your face off. That's what they do. They'll push so hard they'll start to deform their face and lips, and you're like, stop it, stop.
Here's a boyfriend.
Yeah,
Jeez,
do
needy
anything
bee.
but hurt yourself for no reason. What a bunch of
Yeah.
idiots.
Well,
It's so
I mean,
dumb.
but you said that there are the people who are like super religious about only breeding like every 3 years or whatever. It's a different, like they're purebred boas
Yeah,
or
sort of. So
whatever.
like a boa constrictor from Suriname really won't want to breed every year. But since mine are like stupid mutts that are half Colombian, half Nicaraguan, half nothing, half street rat, half street cat, they don't seem to care. They just breed whatever they want. I'm not in charge of them. I don't feed the shit out of them either. You can come and look at them. None of them are that fat. They don't care.
No, none of them are actually very big. I was really surprised.
Yeah, I can't stop them from wanting to fuck each other. I'm just gonna let them do it.
It's like a college dorm in
Yeah,
there.
if they would just sit quietly in their cages and not push, it'd be different. Then I could ignore them. But the ones that push so bad they hurt themselves, and I was like, I don't get it. Just go ahead.
So do you have males for those females? Because isn't it like basically 1-to-1 with
Yes.
boas?
Yes. So their males from like last year are available, but also like the males I held back from 2020 are available. So the sharps know. I was like, I'm just gonna give you your son. Just see what happens. See if he's ready. Because y'all want to fuck anyway. If he's ready, then it was the best looking thing on that litter. Another goddamn gray snake. No surprise there, Jessica. Didn't even keep like the visual albino.
But it's basically like if he's ready, and if not, it's totally fine if they don't go.
Yeah,
but
I do not. I don't even want her to go. She's such a bitch. Stop pushing.
But if she has a boy in there, even if he's not quite ready,
right, she'll stop
down,
pushing. Right? Yes.
Okay.
So this is okay for me. All of this is
cool.
good. Yes. She'll be like, oh, this is fun. We should do it.
Come cuddle and tickle me. I'm so needy.
I know, women. God, I can't handle their clinginess. Anyway, so that's Boas. As usual, way too much fun.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I actually am like completely falling in love with boas, but they scare the hell out of me disease-wise.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when. I don't want to tell people that like you cannot test your way out of arena, because obviously you can. I just don't know when you can decide you've done it. I don't know.
I think once I have everything out in the Snake Shack, the kings and the balls, and everybody out there has been tested or multiple tested, then I don't know, 3 months after that in the house, I think if I wanted to, I could get a third species of something like a boa in the house, like one boa, and be fine with that. I don't know. I just,
you're gonna want a pair, so just accept it.
Well, but you want to get the female like if,
yeah, but you're gonna want a pair eventually,
but also if I'm getting it from you as a baby and bringing it into an environment that it is completely quarantined basically all the time, and that feels better than like a random boa from a random person that's a random age. That, I mean, like, it could test negative and still be scary. I don't know. I'm still having trouble with it, and I think I'll just address it. Maybe when you have your IMG litter, then I will be pushed over the top, because that is my favorite boa more.
Oh my God.
So pretty.
He is like startling to look at all times. Like, I think of the morph varieties between boas and pythons, I think IMG still wins of every version of ball python that could exist, because it just already looks crazy.
So pretty.
It takes a lot to slap into a ball python to make it look good.
We're talking about your IMG that's like super dark but has like red,
yes,
dragony undertones.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. He's breeding this year.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So males, boas,
babies.
They don't have to be that big. They'll still breed at 18 months, no problem. So you almost don't even need buy your male like a year after the female. It could be 2 years.
They have to be like 3 or 4 to breed.
Yes.
Or older, depending on if they're a needy bitch or not.
Mm-hmm. Some of them, they don't want to breed till they're 6. They just don't. And that's fine. That's fine. It's just, I don't know. There was a post on Facebook. Somebody was like, if you breed any boas at 3, you're a bad person. Again, it's like.
I remember we talked about it.
Okay.
Also, I'm supposed to let her push her face off raw and then possibly die while she's laying slugs.
Yeah.
Because that's better?
Yeah, I don't know. To me, there's a continuum of, care. And I think if a animal that hasn't been power fed still wants to breed at 3, it's fine to me. The age 3 is not meaningful to
the
care.
age is not meaningful to me either. I think you're right. I think it's behavioral, and it's so much safer, like you said, for a boa to have a small live clutch than try to have slugs.
Yeah, and there's a lot of. I have this feeling that the reason why the good part of the boa community is don't breed them till 4, 5, 6 and feed them slow, is to prevent those early deaths and too many deaths too soon from burning a female boa out. So that's true. It used to be people used to think boas would die after 3 litters. They would just die.
And that's horrific. Like,
they're
that
just
cannot be the community standard.
right. They're just like, if you breed them 3 times, they die. And you look up an old Reptiles magazine article on how to breed boas. It's just like, they just die all the time. But here's my thing. I don't think it was the amount of breeding that killed those boas. I think it was arena. You know, like...
Yeah. It was the amount of exposure that eventually they caught it.
So I think that people who are trying to be like, breed them less and they'll live longer and they'll do better. That is maybe kind of true, but partially how to keep your boa to live longer is not to have it be full of diseases. So like, maybe boas can breed every year if they don't have arenavirus and they're actually fine.
I mean, it's very similar to in the ball python industry when you have a female breeder die 2 weeks after dropping her clutch. And everyone's like, oh, that really sucks, but no big deal. That happens to everybody I know.
Right.
So, and literally the only person telling me to test that snake is you. But yes, she died of nidovirus. Right. Yet everyone was so ready to tell me, like, oh, that's so normal. Don't worry about it. It's nothing you did. Which is not true.
Right. The question is, like, what is their, like, tolerated loss within their collection that they have decided that would be normal? You know what I mean? Like, do they lose 5% of all adult females every year to like nido related resurgences because the animal's stressed, and like that's so normal to them?
And a dead breeder every year is totally fine.
It's crazy. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't know how often.
If I didn't have you,
a boa or ball python should breed. Maybe they should all breed every other year. But if they're in good condition and they're asking to breed, there should be no reason to like inhibit them from breeding. I don't know. It's very strange. We're getting in the weeds a little bit. Yes, I'm a bad person.
We'll come back. Yes, you're a terrible person.
I know.
For not wanting that girl to shred her face off and lay slugs anyway.
I know. It's so dumb.
You just want her to get a little tickle and, cuddle in the side.
I honestly would prefer her not to breed because it's boas have large litters. I want 3 litters a year, right? I don't want 6 litters this year or whatever. But if these dumb fucking
where are you going
snakes,
to put 6 litters?
I don't know. I have a whole Salem. All right. The species I'm most excited about is corn snakes. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me. This is another thing where am I going to put them all? But I have 7. I think 7.
You need a warehouse soon.
I need to go to Sea Serpents and buy those little bitty racks. Because that probably holds 2 clutches. So we need to go buy 4 more or something.
I was just going to say, don't you have the little bitty
Yeah,
racks?
I need to buy. I just need more. Cute. That's only 30 bins.
So cute. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So cute.
So far, I would say like the corn snakes are a commercial failure because I haven't sold that many of the first year's production. So I shouldn't be excited about them.
That too.
I'm not really doing this for other people. I'm doing this for me. But the new Miami Okatee female, she's probably the most perfect snake I own currently, like of any species. She's the most correct for her type of anything.
Didn't you just get her in?
Yes.
Does that mean you can breed her this season?
I'm not going to brumate her. I just decided to let her sort of have a cool time. So she'll quarantine through cool time, no brumation, and just come up and she'll ovulate whenever.
Okay.
I'm sure he sold them at that time with the intention of them going down, but I'd rather quarantine her and observe her instead of brumating her and not see what she's doing and then have her come up anyway. I don't know. It's very, very confusing. I went back and forth for a while about like making my corn stay down longer and then having her sync up with him that way. But a corn snake who's not brumated will just randomly decide to ovulate whenever she wants to in the spring. So she could do it. It's usually just sometime after the first of the year. They will shed one day, look around, be like, I'm ready to fuck. And then so I'll just be pairing her, in a couple more weeks.
It'll just be a little more work, but you'd rather be able to make sure that she's healthy than just dump her in the cold and hope.
Yeah, she did pass a crypto panel, but that, I don't know, she's 6 or 7. So if she was positive all along, she would have died by now. I don't know. She's the most perfect snake I've ever seen. I could not improve upon her. She's already perfect. So
who's she going to? Her son?
No, Ron Burgundy. Her son is this year's baby.
Oh, okay.
Ron Burgundy is a low belly reptiles who is not even as perfect as her, so it's a waste. But I don't have anybody as perfect. So like the goal would be to like make her children and just see how perfect they are and just pick the most perfect.
Is her son perfect too?
Nope.
It can't breathe this year. Oh,
So I'm saying it's like sort of a conundrum. I've somehow stumbled across the most perfect thing that's ever been born. What do you do with that? This is a big burden I have now. I had multiple people be like, I want a pair of her babies. I'm like, listen, I'm not sure I can share. I have to find the most perfect one.
note to all those listening who ever want a baby: you cannot share ever.
No.
Which is not true. You just have to be extra patient because eventually she does share.
Yeah, I have too many, so it'll come. But I'll
right
be
around
sitting.
this time is when she starts sharing.
I'll be sitting on like way too many for a long time to decide which one is the most perfect. But I look at that animal, and even though she doesn't cost that much, she is more of a flagship animal than almost any other animal I have in any other species I have, because she's that perfect. Like no one can look at her and not recognize that she's perfect.
See, I don't even know what she looks like. Now I gotta go look at her.
Go look at my Instagram. Perfect for her type. So she's been selectively bred to be Miami Okatee. She has no morphs. Literally, I cannot improve upon any factor of her body. I am startled every time I open the tub. So, part of like my mission with her is to like bring her males that complement her that aren't related to her lineage, and then create a line from her progeny that tries to sort of recapture her glory, basically.
So is she just an Okatee?
Miami Okatee. Miami is like the base coat is silver, the base color, and Okatee is that the borders are thick. So those are not even, they're like selectively bred phenotypes.
You posted one that had like diffused Miami, and this is something I think you were talking to on Corn Stars. How it's like a reduced border Okatee rather than like the extra black.
Right, I did one that was recently that was like frosted and pale. You talking about that one?
Yeah, I really liked that.
Yeah, so that's like another, like the other sort of the Miamis. There's like two continuums. There's a bigger border and more saturation, or less border and paler and paler and paler color. So you can go either way. And there's actually like in-betweens that are pretty cool. But you have like a whole universe of like choices, what you want to do with those sort of base looks. And then you can put those into morphs. So I could spend a whole lifetime with either one. And even into the same mutations, like getting the look in the different mutations. This is why I'm excited about corn snakes. And this is what I want to do with boas, but boas take up an extraordinary amount of space and time, and it's really hard to bring in boas and not have them have arena, to be honest. But most of the corn snakes, every corn snake I've had has come in crypto-negative. So
are you thinking about downsizing your boas?
I've thought about it a lot, all the time. Every day.
I was gonna say, like every other conversation we're having, I've heard you mention it in the past couple months. So I was curious if that was happening.
It hasn't happened yet. It might never happen, but I might just, and this is sort of already happening. I'm never going to expand boas. They'll just stay at the size they are now. I won't expand projects.
Well, and you can't like bring in outside stuff that often.
Right. There are people who I absolutely trust who test their collection. They're on the Discord. They're all beautiful and wonderful, and I love them all. I will buy boas from them because they've tested. They have a legacy of testing. That makes me feel good.
What about Big Ugly Mama?
Oh, I did pair her, but I don't know if she's going to go. I'm not that worried about it. She's so ugly.
You still haven't let me see her.
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't. She's nearly headless Nancy. She had a pretty big chick the other day. I could have paired her to something more expensive, but I just decided not to because she's like new to my collection. So I sort of gave her like a second rung male. But sorry, bud.
Likes to call those sacrificial males.
Sort of, yeah. I saw that Boa Sigma female who's never bred for me. She's a 2013, never ovulated, never bred for me or the person before me. She's het leopard. I can't get her to ovulate.
Het leopard. Oh,
Uh,
so many words to learn, so many different species. Why can't we just be consistent across the
yeah.
different?
So leopard looks like, I don't know. It looks like little spots on a boa instead of in like this weird like marble mosaic look. And Boa Sigma is when they split boa constrictor apart. There's no more subspecies. There's just Boa Sigma, Boa Imperator, and Boa Constrictor. Boa Sigma is on the western side of Mexico. What's cool about those ones is they tolerate. If you go look up like what's the temperature in the Sonoran Desert right now or whatever, it's fucking cold. It's 50 degrees at night, and there are 5-foot boas just dealing with it and having fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, so if you want like a boa that will tolerate your hot bullshit, Sigma is the best choice, and they're quite small. So the Sigma Imperator hybrids would be smaller and even more cold tolerant, but she won't ever breed. I don't know. I'll have to decide what to do with her. Like, how many years do you sit on something? It's the same question as always. But,
Oh,
and it
see, I'm
doesn't breed.
so brutal about that. I'm like, bye-bye, pet only. Here you go.
Yeah, I think this is her last year. This would be her third winter.
Do you cool boas or not? No, they like tickle and play like ball pythons.
But they do get cooled.
They do get cooled.
Even the stuff from the equator, a small amount of cooling. It's not like super intentional for me because most of my stuff is high percent Colombian Imperator stuff. But, something from the Sigma, Occidentalis, Argentine boas, stuff like that, they will get quite cold where they're from. So they're almost more like a diamond python or...
So do you think maybe that's why she hasn't gone for you? Is that you're not getting her cold enough?
Yeah, but she gets special treatment. She gets all of her heat unplugged for 8 weeks with no food. So she's just on ambient. But she might need to be even colder, like allowed to drop to the 50s at night and then warm up each day like a diamond python would.
Okay.
But I'm not set up
that?
to do that. I would have to be like, it's time to not do that, or it's time to do it over here. You know what I mean? You'd have to be like...
she would need like her own building, basically.
Yeah, so it's hard with any animal that wants a little bit more input because you have to decide if it fits your management strategy. And most Sigma don't need all that. They breed just fine with Colombians and with a Colombian level of cooling. So if she needs it, then she's not a good candidate for my breeding room anyway, because she will pass that trait on to her offspring.
Right.
I'm probably just going to rehome her as like pet only, and if you can make her breed, go for it. But right now, it doesn't really matter. She is very tame, really old, and barely 5 feet, and not super big, particularly. So she would be a great pet for somebody. We will be breeding one pair of Slowinski's rat snakes, one pair of Japanese rat snakes, and one pair of Western hognoses. So we'll have some.
Oh, the hoggies are going this year.
Yeah, so we'll have some Flavor Town to mix it up. We'll see what happens if any of those sell. I still think in general the corn snakes are the most exciting. If I can't sell any of them, then they're not exciting anymore.
Well, yeah, I'm breeding the Trail
idiot.
King, and I have no idea. I have zero idea of if they sell or if they're wanted or if they're exciting to other people, but I'm really enjoying having something else. I'd love to add a trio of either Cali red-sided garters or the blackneck garters. Those ones are really pretty, but I'm in such shitty luck with garters that I have to be careful. I've tried twice to add garters to my collection, and they have not survived. So maybe I just need like yearlings, but also if I can't keep a pair or trio alive till they're big enough to be not scary to keep alive, then I shouldn't be having babies. I don't know. It's been interesting.
Maybe you need to buy from somebody cooler.
Yeah, I definitely need
Maybe
to buy
that's
from
the
something
problem,
cooler.
partially.
I messaged somebody cooler, and they kind of blew me off as like, you're not cool enough to play at this party, so
Oh, no.
I don't know what to do with that or who to get it from. So I don't know.
There's people
We'll
in the Discord, not to plug the Discord 10 more times. If you want to invite everybody at home, you can message me for an invite that breed garters. So you can...
Am I supposed to screen invites, or like if they're
I don't
testing
know.
curious
No,
and
fuck
asking
it.
me 50 questions about how to test?
Yeah, that's
Isn't
good
that
enough.
like Yeah, okay.
There's no
That's what
rules
I've been
here.
doing.
I have very limited... I almost think like anybody can come in. If they are truly a problem, we'll kick them out. But most
Okay.
people don't even stick around who join because it's not their cup of tea, which is fine. So I haven't been that scared to just invite anybody so far.
So
Famous last
far.
words. For new species, for me, I'm really into old world rat snakes right now. Like as like,
Oh, me too. But I want to watch your experience first.
yeah, here's what I want. I want things that are small, colorful, visually interesting on to photograph and to keep, and not particularly difficult. Like no high humidity, whatever. Or if they have high humidity, they need to be low temp. So if we're gonna have mandarins, that's fine. But we don't. I can't have a ton of big tropical rat snakes that need.
Mandarins are so pretty.
Yeah. So there's like mandarins are on the list, Korean rat snakes, rain rat snakes, maybe the other species or subspecies of bamboo rat snakes because they're like so little and beautiful and small and barely do anything. Little
Wait,
bitty.
so are you gonna have like a rat snake room, or are they okay with your corns?
Right now, that warehouse. Right now they're in like
Oh.
sprinkled randomly. Mostly of them are in displays in the living room, right?
I was
But
just gonna
they're
say I thought your rats were all basically in your living room, but like on
right. But what's
different
going to happen
corners
when I
of
get
your living room.
400 Dion's rat snakes? Where will those go? I don't know.
I mean, you don't really need kitchen cabinets, right? Those can be
No, you don't
replaced
need
with like
food. Also,
enclosures.
oh god. So maybe I should slow down a little bit. Is what I'm saying. No, but that's why I want little Asian rat snakes. Ones that aren't, Russians and blue beauties and Chinese king rats and Taiwan beauties. They're all gorgeous, but they need like big. They're big, exciting animals with need big, exciting enclosures. I love them all. Don't have room for them unless I get rid of boas. Like replace, one for one.
Right.
Which I don't know if I'm ready for that. So that's why I'm focused on like little, beautiful, delicate, but easy to take care of. So Diones are little, mandarins are little, all the little bamboo
Oh,
rats are little.
mandarins are so pretty.
Like the
I've been
Japanese
secretly crushing,
forest
well, not
rats
so
are real
secretly
little.
crushing on those.
Yeah, so those are like good candidates for animals that are both good pets but boutique enough that their price is stable and high. But a mandarin rat snake will always be attractive to everyone who's ever lived.
Yeah, how can you look at that and not be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing?
Right. So that's what I mean. Like
Wait, so are all rat snakes 1-to-1 or are they trios?
more like trios.
Okay.
I just have 1-to-1 because it's hard to buy females.
You basically have to buy 1-to-1 on the really popular rat snakes right now because you can't buy a female by itself.
Right, because Calibra people understand what the hell's going on, and they will force you to buy a male because they do not want to sit on a bunch of males. I don't
Which is
know.
smart.
I don't know why ball python people. The convention has not really stuck. Probably because
I've been trying to explain that to people, like people who do raffles or whatever, and they're trying to raffle off this like 66 pos het dude, and I'm like, no one's gonna enter your raffle. You're gonna have to do a 1-to-1, and they're like, but I don't want to give up my holdback, and I'm like, okay, well then don't do a raffle,
right
maybe.
wholesale the male or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a convention that's tolerated within colubrids to like be forced to buy pairs. It's just tolerated. But the balance of power between males and females isn't quite as extreme in colubrids as it is in ball pythons anyway. It's like 1-to-3, maybe 1-to-5, but you're really stretching it. Because their season is shorter. They only breed
Well,
for a
yeah,
couple weeks.
in the ball python world, it's like most people unload their males on the new uneducated people while convincing them that, oh, you need to make sure you've got your males covered because they don't realize that they can have 10 males and 100 females.
Right.
The males should be getting dumped into the pet trade is what should be happening, but I'm not sure if that's what's happening.
Right. But I think sometimes people are half in the pet trade and half in the breeder trade. And so how can you predict what the hell people actually want unless you like really drill down and ask them? I'd try to, but I don't know how much hand holding you can do. Like, are you interested in breeding? And they're like, maybe 3 years from now. I'm like, I guess I'll still sell you this male. You're not actually that interested.
Yeah,
So
pet
should
training.
I?
I don't do any hand holding or
Yeah. So should I dissuade you
gender
away from
anything.
a random male? No, that's up to
Nope.
you.
Here you go. If you have more questions in the future about breeding, feel free to message me in 20 years.
For boa pickups, like I said, I have problems, but the only morph I'm interested in adding right this second is black-eyed anery because it's more gray snakes.
As
Certainly have
as a
not.
boa, that sounds like a corn snake gene.
What?
I know nothing about either. It just sounded corn
In
snakey.
in boas, anery is called anery. There's no xanthic.
Okay.
But the black-eyed anery is xanthic-like. It does reduce a lot of yellow. So it is like the most perfect gray snake. Like it stays grayer instead of what anery type 1 does, and it sort of yellows out a little bit. So I was just going to add that to my projects that I already have to make them even more boring and gray.
Okay. Well, you're going to have to shoot me pictures of your IMG pair after the podcast because that's literally all I'm thinking about.
That's on Instagram too, because they've been fucking like wild beasts for months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's such a little chicken nugget, but they don't care. He's doing great. He has all the stamina.
A little stud muffin chicken nugget.
Little beef jerky. That's fine.
Yeah, well, see, I gotta sift through all the corn snakes on here.
You just need to get into corn snakes, is what I'm saying. We'll see.
Well, you start selling corn snakes, then we can talk. But I
right.
saw no corn snake sales happening. So
That's true for the show. To me, like the most response from Facebook has been about, not Facebook, Instagram, sorry, has been about corn snakes, not about anything else.
Like your post gets seen the most.
I don't know why. Doesn't that mean people are interested in adding corn snakes? So they look at corn snakes, or corn snakes are colorful, or there's something about corn snakes in particular that's... The corn snake market feels like it's opening up in a way that's significant. Obviously, the colubrid market is doing the same thing, but I think people are like re-looking at corn snakes not as just a pet, but as like a high-end boutique animal with lots of fun potential, and it doesn't require high humidity, live feeders.
They are definitely
a large
much
space.
Easier setup than ball pythons. But they're also like vicious little stinks when they're brand new.
Sometimes, like I have some that come out of the egg and are fine, and I have some that like become little shits because I don't play with them that much, and I have some that were little shits really bad and then they got better. You just gotta pick, or just
they always
hold
get
them.
better.
Yeah,
They're corn snakes. I mean, they're not vicious for life. Otherwise, they wouldn't be like the number one snake in the country.
What I'm trying to say is like I like ball pythons good enough, but I do not think they're actually like the best first pet, and I think that's a trick. Because they really struggle in the stupid fucking aquariums people want to put them in all the time with red lamps and aspen. But if you put a corn snake in that same setup, it wouldn't struggle. It would just be like, whatever. I'm a corn snake.
Yeah. Like I have somebody that bought from me at the show, and they bought from me last year at the show and had no problems with their baby. And then this time they bought one that I had gotten from a different breeder because it was on death's door 6 months ago. And I assist fed it for like 3 months and was pretty sure it was going to die. And then all of a sudden it just decided like, hey, I'm going to be a ball python, and ate fine for me, frozen thawed weekly for 3 months. And I'm like, okay, I think you're okay to sell. And like I had an extra special label on him that he had a rough start and that he had been fine for 3 months. And they're like, well, we have one from you, so we're experienced, so we feel like it's no big deal. And so they took this little guy home, and they've been having nothing but problems with him. And so I've offered to like replace him with a sibling that looks just like him. And I just immediately assumed that it was because he had had a rough start. I didn't ask them any questions about their enclosure, which if it had been any other snake, the first thing I would have been was, what is your humidity? What is your heat? What is your cool side? Like all the stuff that you normally ask. And I didn't, which is on me. And so they were like, oh, but we love him so much. He's like the best, but he won't eat. Finally, I was like, they had sent me a video of them trying to feed, and the poor little guy is like super interested, but like as he's like moving around trying to zero in on this prey item, his eco earth is literally like puffs of dust is coming up
Oh
from it.
God, Christ.
And so I'm like, oh, and they had said, oh, he has started sneezing, and I'm like, okay, well that's weird. Um, but then they sent me the video, and I'm like, oh, you guys have eco earth, and it's literally like drier than
Then
it
the
is in the
Sahara,
package.
right?
Yes, and I'm like, what's your humidity? And they're like, oh, 20%. And I'm like, oh, oh, honey. And so, like, they immediately poured warm water in it, and I think we're gonna get them all fixed up. But I didn't even ask these questions because, like I said, they've bought from me before and never had any problems with the other one. I just assumed it was because this guy had such a rough start. But
Question
literally, it was
is were they
because
having problem with the other one, but they just didn't tell you, or you know?
I don't know. I have no idea. So we'll see how it turns out. But it was actually like his humidity was 20%, and he literally got like eco earth in his heat pits and is sneezing because every time he moves, there's plumes of eco earth.
Right. Yeah, I'm not. I do think ball pythons can be someone's first pet, but the way people act at the show and the way people act online, where they don't give a shit what you tell them about PVC, they're gonna go home and get an aquarium. They don't want to buy a tub because they're convinced it's bad
Yeah, that it's
for
like
whatever reason.
that's what like hobos do.
Right. But
My awesome snake deserves better than a hobo enclosure.
yeah, they struggle to keep humidity, and they can't be convinced to do anything to the top, and they gotta have a light just burning down on whatever substrate, even if they pick a good substrate, just burning down on that shit. And it's in their living room, which is 65, so that little light might be 80 on the hot spot, but the rest of it's 20%. Like it's happened to me way too many times. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
if I sold you a corn snake, it would survive all of that just fine.
All that abuse for sure.
Because the
I,
corn
I
snake just
feel like I
toughs
tried
it out.
really hard to like I have a like display ball python set up in the tank, which is
But
what I
your
assume
tank
most
is a
people are gonna
tank.
get.
I know, but it's a tank. You should not even tell them it's an option. You should make them see a tub as the only option.
So you're saying I should have a setup like PVC or a tub?
Because it will invariably fuck up a tank. Because no one wants to do the work to make a tank work, in my opinion, in what I've seen so far.
Yeah,
They
that's
just
fair.
suck. They just suck. New people, you suck.
New people, don't buy from us because you suck.
You
This
don't
is a
suck.
really positive
Yeah,
podcast.
I love
I'm
all
really
of
glad
you.
that we're all sunshine and
Right.
rainbows
I love
this
all of
time.
you deeply.
I
But
also cannot find your beautiful IMG on your Instagram.
are you drunk right
you-
now?
It's entirely possible. It is a holiday week in our house.
I will let you know. The female Miami Okatee is on December 1st, by the way. And the
Oh, see, I
male
didn't go past.
IMG is on November 12th with his girlfriend.
Yeah, I didn't go past December. What other purchases? So, like a building has come up for you, a warehouse building. I plan to purchase some more racks this
Oh, me
season.
too. There's no like convenient
So
or like a
many.
fun way to talk about purchasing racks, but
I don't know. It's exciting for me. I'm really excited.
there's obviously a lot of like infrastructure that has to go along every year. We kind of
Oh, you
talked
already
about this
said
the other night.
you plan to purchase an ARS every year.
Yes,
ball
for
pythons.
ball pythons, but I also need to do the same
Oh,
thing
wait,
for
so
the
is that
other
the same
classes
for
of
all
animals.
three
Yeah.
other animals?
So now I'm like, what do we do? This is a mistake. What have I signed up for?
Well, I'm not going to say that you don't have room for like one more in each space, but then what do you do next
Then what do we
year?
do next year? That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, maybe we should drop
Cross
Boas,
your
even though
fingers and hope
Boas.
that you do get a transfer.
Oh, fuck.
Is the stay of execution good or bad?
I don't know. And then on my list of things to buy somehow is a mega butt ton of colubrids. So I want to add additional.
Wait. More corns
Even
or rats?
more. And on here it says 40 Dione's rat snakes. That's a
40?
I just made that up, and I was like, that seems like a good number.
Wait. Where do you put them? Like, what do they live in? Like, as
This
adults?
is a good question. They can probably live
Can
in
they go in a rack?
yeah, 35 quart. You know, like a V35 or V28. They're real
Oh,
little,
okay.
like 3 feet long.
So like a ball python male
Yes,
equivalent
but
size.
tolerant of low humidity, temperate temperatures. So like they'll live. Could give them a vision rack and won't turn into crispy critters.
Oh yeah, I always forget that colubrids are awesome that way. I hate my vision rack, but my kings are gonna get it. I'm gonna convert the bottom three to
41
C,
quart.
yeah, the C70s because you can buy
Mm-hmm.
the little pole thingies that make the whole rack be different things.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
that's why vision is okay. It's just vision isn't good for anything really tropical unless your humidity is on point in the whole ass room. Because there's way too much airflow.
The humidity in the office that has the majority of my ball pythons in it is like 60, and those poor little guys in the vision.
Are still crispy critters.
I'm still literally pouring water into their substrate
Yeah. Yeah,
weekly.
I don't.
Literally
Uh,
pouring water. Not spraying, not this none of this misting crap. I'm literally pouring like a whole extra like their little water dishes. Like I fill it and dump it and then refill it
right.
because that's how dry they are. They're all shedding fine because the room is 60 and I literally dump a cup of water in their substrate every week. But
Right.
like if I wasn't on top of it or I was gone for like 10 days or something, which I never am because I don't have a life, but then they would be like exploding sheds and they would all be like little crunchy
Mm-hmm.
figures in the corner.
This is why I know you're mostly ball pythons, but this is part of why I'm like, we live somewhere cold. We have to heat. There's humidity issues. So, like, yes, we can keep ball pythons alive. But what if my workload was different? What if everything in those vision cages or in any cages was
Didn't care
more
about
tolerant?
humidity.
Yeah, it was just like, whatever. 40%, 20%. That's fine. Just as long they just need water to drink to shed clear.
Yeah.
Like if you for some reason don't give them water, then yes, they will have problems, I guess. But otherwise, they're fine with normal house
Yeah, I haven't even
procedures.
done like humid hides or whatever for the kings. They literally just like hang out in their water bowl and then shed and they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, thanks, I'm good. No moss for me.
I know. I honestly, my big the concern to me with corn snakes is that they're still sort of looked down upon as not cool enough or like not high end enough or something.
They're not, and they are.
Right. It's just as much work to wait 3 or 4 years for a corn snake female to grow up and hit a quad recessive.
I'm not disagreeing with you, and I'm not disagreeing with how amazing and beautiful they are. But from where I entered the hobby, from a very social media standpoint, and from a very young in the reptile world in general, not even just as a breeder, but like as a human in general, I did not look at reptiles at all before 2 years ago.
Corn
Um,
snakes weren't cool to you, is what you're saying.
Corn snakes are not cool. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we looked into it so heavily, my daughter and I, before breeding was even on the table. And basically, like, they are, they're the B choice.
I know, but I don't think that's
It's
fair.
not, it's
At the very least, they should be separate, different choices, but not the B choice. And I
so
think
all
they
the
definitely were.
people who are talking about ball python versus corn snakes. Clint does a lot of videos, Snake Discovery. There's a couple of other really big names that do like a corn versus ball python. They basically say that corns are better because of their care requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you are researching and you're looking into it, they are pushing corns more, probably because they're much more tolerant in a
But
glass cage from
yeah,
PetSmart in whatever bedding you happen to
scrounge up.
mistakenly get. And so with a light instead of any kind of heat mat, like they
Right.
really are much
I
more
do think
tolerant.
like
And you are
most
correct
of
that
the
way. But I
pet
think,
people are pushing it right, but like the prestige part of it, is not for colubrids. The prestige part of it is for
Ball
ball
pythons.
pythons.
Absolutely. And that is what I felt. Even watching all of these big name, very educated humans say, please buy a corn snake, you idiot. Even though all of them are saying it, like, oh, well, ball pythons are beautiful and they're very calm, but, they're hard to get to eat and you have to have their humidity just right and their care is a little more complicated. So please just buy the corn snake. We still bought the ball python.
I know, isn't that funny? I
So
think we
that
commented.
from
I commented
that
on that a
point
long
of
time ago,
view,
but I still
I
think
have
it's
a
funny.
really hard time wanting to put any kind of emotional excitement or investment towards corn snakes in general because my general feeling from someone who just came in off the street is that they do get the poo-pooed on
Mm-hmm.
side of the market. I don't see it there. So if you all of a sudden start exploding selling corn snakes and everybody's into it, other than just corn snake people, cool. Maybe I'll look into it. But I'd rather have like a badass old world rat snake that everyone thinks is cool than a bunch of corn snakes that I'm going to be keeping forever because no one thinks they're cool.
Yeah, I mean, there is like the problem of like just a generic Mandarin rat snake, just any Mandarin rat snake that just is born, is already more expensive and better than any corn snake that is born. Just any random
Yes.
one. Because it's just more expensive, rarer, costs more money to make. Less people have them. They're not at Petco ever.
Ever.
So like just the rarity factor. But there are corn snakes that look almost exactly like a Mandarin rat snake, turns out. And they're about the same price, but nobody knows a corn snake can look like a Mandarin rat snake. So I think
they don't know and they don't care.
Yeah. Well, my job will be to promote corn snakes
to make them care
as a just as exciting but easier to take care of option. To even to a Mandarin rat snake, because Mandarin rat snakes, they would not do well in a 10-gallon with the whole thing open with low humidity. They need high humidity. So they're cool temperature but high humidity.
Well, we just need to
we'll just do more podcasts about corn snakes
and make all this money, and then we can launch like a Petco, PetSmart, ball python friendly, humid snake friendly kit that is not just a glass tank. It's like the whole modified enchilada.
I don't know if you saw this, but Wilbank sells a 18-inch wide, 18-inch tall, 3 feet long ball python cage that is PVC.
I did know that they had a special thing that they
That's
sell.
That's what Petco needs to sell too. It's just like, don't even buy none of this other shit. Go to this PVC one, which is $20 more. It fits on your. It's designed to fit on your like dresser. And it just has a little bit more insulation and a little bit more humidity control. That's the only real difference. And it doesn't fucking break when you drop it, by the way. God bless America.
Or when your cat knocks something off of it.
Right. There's no screens to punch out. And you can drill whatever lights you want into the top to shine down. So if you really think you want UVB in plants and stuff, not a problem. Just put them in there. Drill them into the top.
Well, in like the perfect future world of Jana, I'm hoping that once we go big on this, that my husband will want to be making something like that for me to sell. Because I'm not going to name names just because there's no reason to. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Our local PVC maker is not what I had hoped for. And my husband, with his freaking circular saw, which he actually has a table saw, so we know it could be 1,000 times better. But with just his circular saw, like freehand in that PVC shit, could make nicer things than what's available currently in our area. And so my hope is that he'll be interested in working PVC and enclosures and racks and other things for me and
having
for
like
sale.
An off-the-shelf option for people to come and buy a pet.
Yeah. Right. So like when I go to the shows and stuff, I can have, a giant
and Snake Discovery has that too now. They have their own version of I don't even remember the brand anymore, but like their off the shelf
Yeah.
flavor.
The,
I
yeah,
think
and
we
I
just need
think
to
that
tell
that's
people,
needed.
like, if you're not ready to spend money on the PVC, go buy a tub. It doesn't matter what you think about tubs. Go buy a
I
tub.
actually talked to two of the people
Go
who
buy a
bought
tub.
snakes from me at the show into
And they said
tubs.
they were going to buy a tub. Okay, good.
And they
I
have
think
since
people just
bought
don't
a
know.
tub and
Okay,
they have sent me pictures of their setup
and they
and they're
love it.
perfect.
I
They're like
know.
perfect little snake discovery, like
Tub.
with enrichment and everything. They're
Yes,
great.
please do it. Everyone at home, tell anybody. Just tell them to
I should
skip,
just start bringing a tub instead of a
skip the
tank
yeah,
and just really make it cool.
yeah. You can make a tub fucking with lights if you wanted to. You can cut out the you can put live ass plants. It can be bioactive. It's already better at holding humidity. You don't have to struggle. That's all I'm saying. Ugh, and yeah, it gives me heart palpitations every time I see somebody buying a fucking Exoterra or whatever. Yes, I know they're front opening, but your humidity in your room is not ready for that screen top. One of these days we'll do a how to set up a ball python, like literally a care sheet or something. And it'll be for not any of you people who know how to take care of ball pythons, but it'll be for buyers. It'll be like, go to this QR code and listen. The end.
The end.
All right, so infrastructure goals. I don't have a ton of ball pythons I want to buy. I think I said that, but I do want Wookiee
I was really confused by that, but
and
I
Cypress
understand that
and
you are like hot and heavy colubrids and ball pythons are losing favor.
I still like them. They're irritating a lot more than colubrids are, to be honest.
That's fair.
I was like
I'm glad to hear though that
ultrasounding
you're
and
gonna
stuff.
start working projects that you actually give a crap about rather than trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Well, I never really did keep up that good, but
It made you spin in circles quite a bit.
right, I don't give a shit about DG Clown. Really, really, I don't. But I don't mind people who do. That's fine. I would just rather make Miami Oakty, which is the best goddamn snake I've ever seen. Bar none. I've never seen a better snake of any species. It's already perfect. Let me repeat that again for everybody in the back. My non-purchase goals, I wanted to probably go to October Tinley. I thought about March Tinley, but Omicron is killing me a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty gruesome.
Right, they keep canceling flights, and I don't know. Like, the probability that we go or not go is a little weird, so I don't know. We'll do a herping trip. I don't know when. I don't know what your schedule's like. At the very least, we could drive to the other side of the mountains.
Yeah, once it warms back up a little bit and everything starts coming out again,
Yes.
I would
We could do
love
like a camping,
love to
like
little
rent a cabin in Spokane and catch rattlesnakes or something.
yeah, cocaine in the
White
smoky
people.
pen.
Spoken.
Oh, see, we'll
Speaking.
break my herping cherry and we'll get you saying it right by the end of the camping trip.
Yes, we will.
We
It'll
could
be
probably
fun.
even bring wildlings with us.
No, yeah, they should go. It'd be fun. Kids
They would
like
love it. My
running around the
oldest
woods.
would love herping.
I
She keeps asking.
really want to go to Florida. I don't know how you feel about Disney World.
I love Florida. I spent a year of my life living in Florida
Florida's
and actually consider it home.
The best, because you can like walk out of your shitty hotel and just look up, and there's like 2 chameleons in the bush beside you, and a curly tail over here, and a couple of invasive geckos by your light. And
that's
if you
fair.
turn this
when I
rock,
lived in Florida, I didn't consider it herping because it's literally like walking from your house to your car. But this was 10 years ago, so it wasn't as bad as it is now. But yeah, you can see a crocodile in your backyard. You can see all the little things running around, all the chameleons and stuff. Chameleons don't run around. The little like gecko-y
Anoles.
things. Yeah, those.
no, all this is why it's fun. It's because South Florida is accidentally the like invasive capital of the world. So like, do you want to
Everything's
herp
alive.
most of the Caribbean, a little bit of the Mediterranean, a little bit of South America, a little bit of Florida, and a little bit of whatever? You can just come here to South Florida. So I really want to go to the Deering's estate. It's the only part in the U.S. where wild boa constrictors have established themselves and bred.
That would be cool.
I know, wouldn't that be exciting? Sorry.
But my kids want to do Harry Potter World instead of Disneyland.
I do too, but just my kid's not old enough to get it. You know, and you want to
Yeah,
save
no,
it to
yeah.
when they like know better. So I was like,
Well, mine's
maybe
9, and she is very sure that she's going to get into
I
Hogwarts a year early. So
shit. It's gonna be a
she
burn.
thinks she's so cool that she's going to get her owl early.
Yeah. I mean, I
It's going
would
to be a
still
little
go. It would be
disappointing come
fun.
her
I just
birthday.
like Alex is too little to
Right.
really remember it that good. I did ask him. I was like, "Would you rather go to Harry Potter World or Disney World?" And he's like, "Mickey Mouse." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
more
Well, I
your
mean, that's like
age."
the perfect age
Yeah,
for him to go meet Mickey Mouse.
yeah. I mean, we could do it all. It'd be fine. But
Yeah.
if you're up in Orlando, it's a 2.5 hour drive to Miami. 2 hours, so it's like a separate
It's 2.5.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to be like flying into Miami-Dade or flying into Orlando, spending a day or two there, and then go down to Miami to just waste time looking in neighborhoods for fucking literally chameleons, loose chameleons, and night anoles, whatever weird shit you want. It's a fucking zoo out everywhere you go. It's a zoo. Peacocks,
Yeah.
monkeys, blue front parrots. It doesn't matter. It's all here. Come to Florida. This is the Florida travel guide. I shouldn't be excited about invasives. Invasives are bad, but I think there's a weirdly, uniquely strange, beautiful chaos
Thing
happening in South Florida that I'm kind of into.
Yes. But I'm glad that I'm not a breeder there that's going to get all my rights ripped away.
Well, it's not even breeders. Like, people will just be like, my fish tank is dumb, and they'll just dump it into the canal. So now you have like
Do that everywhere. It's so bad. Like,
gouramis and
why is that the first choice? I don't want my pet. Okay, I'll just let it go.
Right.
Like, so many people think that that's appropriate.
it's not.
Did I
But
ever tell you the story about my friend up in Silverdale?
dumped his
He
fish
gets
tank.
called out to help. There's like a corn snake in a gutter that people keep seeing. And so he gets called out to get this poor thing and rescue it. And it was on our local, like, not herping, but like reptile Facebook group. And all these people are like tagging other people, like, whose corn snake is this? Because obviously it's not like an escapee or anything. And finally, the owner pipes in, don't rescue my corn snake.
Oh, I remember this person.
I let it go because I wanted it to be free and it wanted to live a free life.
Oh, Lord.
Like, literally, that was their response when people were like, wait, that looks like so-and-so's snake. And he's like, yep, that's mine. He told me he wanted to be free.
Wow. Yeah, I do remember that one. People are absolutely need to, I don't know, read a book, a couple books.
Yes.
On
You don't even have to read nowadays.
animal cognition.
Go on YouTube. You can just listen to good advice if you can't read. It's okay.
Oh, we still should probably do this as an episode. But the other thing, a good thing about corn snakes is they don't live that long in captivity.
How long do they live?
15 years, maybe 20.
Oh, like, that's perfect. Like, you can get it for your kid, and then by the time they go to college,
Yeah, if you get a ball python,
ready to kick off.
You're like, I don't want it anymore. It's got 20 more years left to live. Fuck.
Yeah.
So that, even though that doesn't sound like a benefit.
Oh, yeah, 15, 20 years, but really it's like 60.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And that's a weird way to frame it. But like, your dog or whatever is 12, 15, maybe 18 years if it's a really small dog. There's, and that's why hognoses are maybe good too, because they don't quite live as long.
I feel about like 10.
Maybe longer, but I don't know. It depends on the
Not
gender.
in captivity.
The gender. Yeah, and some of the king snakes and stuff will live goddamn forever because they live in like the mountain kings. They like are attuned to being cold, so they'll live to 25 or something crazy. But a ball python could live to 60 potentially. That's a long time.
Well, that one in the zoo was 60 and dropping a Partheno clutch, so she must have been real healthy. Or she was like, crap, I'm about to die and there's none left in the world.
Yeah.
I better save my species.
Yeah,
Um, for sure.
there's
Okay, so tell
a
me how
balancing act
many, you
here.
never said how many clutches you were hoping to hit.
Oh, I don't
So you
know.
said
Didn't even think about
three,
that.
you were hoping three, but it could be potentially six for boas. You were hoping how many for ball pythons?
Hmm.
My goal is 25,
I
but I
didn't
can
even
hit
count.
more
Let me
than that.
just maybe there are 14 adult females that are adult-ish, like have laid eggs
Our
before.
2020 none have laid before.
Right, and there are 40 something females that are 19s or 20s that are over 1,200 grams that could
Yeah, I think I have like
lay.
20 that are like proven, and then like maybe like 30 that are that 19, 20, who knows?
Yeah, so like I'm expecting most of the provens to go again because that's just what ball buttons do. Most of them go again. Some of them probably won't because they don't want to, and that's fine. But it just looks like some of the younger ones might go too. So I don't know how many. I don't care. None of them can go. Some of them could go. I'd be
Okay,
happy if
so you
some
don't
of
have
them
like a
went.
goal.
No, I just want
You just
maybe
want to hit the snakes that you want to hit.
60 to 70% of the older snakes to go. That would be good enough for me. Especially like a
Yeah.
female who went for 2 years before. Should I expect her to go this year? Maybe not. Maybe she
Yeah, that
won't.
does feel a little unreasonable,
Like I'm
but
still
they
pairing
could
her.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the ones that went the last 2 years are definitely developing follicles and want to go, and some of them aren't. So I wonder if they're either going to be delayed or they're going to skip. We'll see what the like delay versus skip ratio is,
Yeah,
and we'll
some of my
report back.
ones that went last year that have been like slow to get back on food are already at like 15, and they're like 4 or 5 months post laying. And I'm like, whoa, I wasn't even planning to pair you for like another 2 months. But they're like, all right, let's do this.
Right. So those ones are cool. That's a different strategy. There's just I'm seeing it all over the place. Like I don't see like
It's very interesting to have the ultrasound because
mm-hmm.
I feel like what I thought was happening last season and what was actually happening last season is not the same. But also sometimes I get the information from the ultrasound and I'm like, I don't know, that helped me not at all.
Right. I ultrasound a couple of things last night. Like some of the 2020s that I thought might have had like 10 don't even have 10, but they're acting like they want to have 10.
Like crazy. I had a couple of 2020s that aren't even on my list to consider this year because in September they were at like, I don't know, 700 grams. I haven't weighed in 3 months, trying to just do more things by feel and look. So I have no idea what they weigh, but they're definitely not even 1,000 grams. The last 2 weeks have been flying out and hitting food harder than some of my ones that are breeding.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It might not mean that they want to develop follicles, but they might be doing the motions of developing follicles. That's something because I
I
have
definitely think that I will up their prey size because they're on like weans.
right,
And so I think I'll start putting them on smalls or like bigger smalls, and hopefully I can get some weight on them.
right. I don't
Not
know what's
necessarily
happening,
for this year, but for next year.
but I
But
definitely
like,
have
if you're
like
gonna eat, I'm gonna feed you. But I like literally like these aren't even on my ones that I'm watching in the last couple of weeks. Some of the slower eaters that are 2020s, but like little 2020s have been crazy bitches.
mm-hmm.
It's
I
exciting. It's
wonder if you
exciting to
lock them
see.
even without follicles, if they would be like okay, and then would go on to both get the size and develop.
Oh, it's confusing
In
because I
nine
have
months.
some that are like 1,400 that have gone off food that have no follicles that I was for sure like, you are going to be the ones that are going to go that have got their first lock 3 months ago and have completely shut down on me.
I have some of those too.
And that's like, oh, I guess I made the wrong call because now you're never going to eat again and you're definitely not growing follicle.
Well, maybe it's okay that they're not eating. They're just replicating the cycle that they will do next year when they actually do grow
Fair.
follicles. They're like
Yeah.
practicing. I don't know. Ball python's weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. I feel like the extra information, I don't have enough history with the extra information for it to be necessarily benefiting me. But it is an exciting time when they're flying out of the bins. I don't know. That's exciting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Except for when they tag you.
I
But
do have a
that's different.
podcast goal that we should be on other podcasts. I don't know how
You
to.
were on another
I know, but
podcast,
we should be on more other podcasts.
but nobody knows who I am. Nobody wants me on their podcast,
They
and
might.
like
We
I
don't know
don't,
yet.
I don't know like cool things to say. So maybe you should go whore yourself out, and
Meow
then you could like be like,
meow.
please take my friend too. She wants to be
I'm
knowledgeable.
talking.
She's
We're
trying.
getting Jana on MJ's Trap Talk sessions next week or something.
Oh, do you know him personally? Isn't he?
No.
No, he's from California. And who's the one that's local? D's balls?
Right, but he hasn't
No.
done anything in a while. But maybe like you could trick him into just doing one last episode. Because he
Oh, he
just
hasn't
has
been
picked.
posting lately?
Yeah, no. But if you ask him, maybe it will happen. And I'd like
Oh.
to have guests on, but I still am like very reluctant to have a ton of guests on.
We have yeses from a couple people.
Yeah, we have such a weird hard time scheduling stuff as it
Well,
is.
that's fair.
And then if I were to be like, hey, you're on the East Coast or wherever, I need you to be ready at noon on a Monday. It's not going to happen. So what's probably going to
Oh,
happen
but I mean,
is
we would have to have like a special day with like a normal, like a Saturday or something.
right.
Where we
It'd
kick
be
our
like a
kids out with their
Saturday at
husbands.
6 our time, so it would be there 9 p.m. or something weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would be done their dinner, and then we would send our kids away. Or like you would either be you doing the interview or me doing the interview. Like if we couldn't
Or
both
like I
be
could
there.
come out to you and we could do it both at your place or something.
Yes, all of those are options. Just
We'll worry about it next
yeah.
year.
Hearing people like Joe, you can tell he wants to die whenever he Joe from the Ground Up podcast, where he was like, I never want to interview anyone ever again. Like that was his condition to be on Corn Stars. This was to never interview anyone ever again, because it's actually much worse than you imagine. Being a good interviewer with good questions, scheduling,
It is a little intimidating and
and
overwhelming.
fully researching them appropriately, and then pre-screening their questions to make sure they're not mad at the questions, and then
Or they're
picking
not going to go on a tyrant at you about how much they hate your guts.
yeah, and then like picking the right. It's its own craft and skill, and what we're doing now requires no skill. We're just bullshitting.
Oh, well, that's not entirely true.
Okay, I don't know,
You
maybe.
have lots of skill, and I just show up and riff off your skill.
All right, that's fine. But I'm saying if we had
It's working, though.
the additional workload of another human, it is not an inconsequential. That's why I've sort of just been a little baby about it. We'll just do the trick where you bring your friends on first and you barely do any work, and then that'll be that. It's fine. I just don't know if we technically need outside people, but I do think that would promote the podcast a lot better than not having outside
Yeah,
people.
I think that's the main reason to
Right.
do it, is that you get the benefit of their name plus your name they twice as many people
Right.
hearing
Right.
about what you're doing.
Yeah, I just don't want to be someone who's so jaded that they can't live anymore because they can't arrange their guests appropriately, and they're like, "Fuck."
No,
And they
I
quit.
think like for a year as a goal. I mean, maybe that's too many. Maybe we'll do two and like hate ourselves and never want to do it again. But I don't want to be like an interview podcast. I like what we do. But I think that a couple of year will be worth it
Yeah.
if we figure out behind the scenes what the heck we're
how
doing.
to do it. Yeah, I do too. I think given the amount of like I don't know dialogue that's pro testing, but isn't as in pro dash testing as in supportive testing, not pro testing, that just still doesn't match like the ethos that I think that we have and the Discord have. There are people who are like trying to promote testing, but they're doing a really shit job of it. They're not actually like promoting the like money shot of testing, which is test on intake, use good hygiene, and make sure animals aren't touching each other. You know,
Always work from the youngest animals to the oldest animals.
I mean, we don't have to get that complicated. Like test on intake, hygiene, retest as you see fit. Like those 3 steps. All these different podcasts are talking about it. They do like come to that conclusion, but they're still like muddying the waters of like, should you test on intake? Like,
Yeah,
No,
that's
the
fair.
first step is test on intake. Like it should be like a fucking meme. Just test on intake, keep everything clean, wash your hands, retest as you see fit. We need to like redo that message like 400 times. So if we get like 10 different people on who will repeat that message as the first thing they say. So it's not just us saying it.
Well, the two people that we want to bring on, I think both of them would
Absolutely. That's why
absolutely
we need to
state
like
that for us.
fill the market with it's not confusing. There are 3 steps.
I
All
think
right.
we also that a lot of people are confused about costs. So I have just started, this is something that you have been doing for a while. I've just started posting my own results, which is something I had been wanting to do for a long time. I'm lazy, let's be real. So now I'm doing that, but I think that if we reiterated when we post our own results, test on intake, biohazard safety, and then I think maybe I'm going to do like a link corral and like a price breakdown right there on the post. And I think that just that simplification right there will be, I just think that would be a good starting place for a lot of people who see it and just get overwhelmed and then like look away. But test on intake, here's what it costs. Have a nice day. Test on intake. Let's just end there. Just fade
Yeah.
out.
You can find me at Hare Hall Farm. By the time you hear this, I'll have made an Instagram for our podcast. You can leave all feedback there. Where can they find you, Jana?
I don't know. Hopefully sleeping somewhere. Find me this week. Maybe next week.
I'll repeat it if anybody's here at the end. Sweet deals on snakes. They're gonna come out of their like post-show quarantine here shortly, and we'll be shipping
Yeah.
again.
So like mid January. Well, like another 2 weeks once the snow melts
right.
and then temperatures get back up to normal. We'll have snakes. I have 0 on my
More
on my
fun.
account right
Yeah, I have
now.
a bunch actually, but I just need to retake like all the pictures are from last summer and weights and stuff. So I have to like
Update everything.
yes.
I'm hoping also to get my own website up, hopefully in the next 2 weeks. And if people really do need to reach out, they can get me on Instagram, ASM Royal Tails.